I've sold tens of thousands of Pokemon cards on TCG Player, and today I want to tell you the 4 worst things about the platform, or the 4 things I think could be better. But what's up, guys? My name's TJ. I run a Pokemon card business called PokePaster TCG, where I buy and I sell tons and tons of Pokemon cards. And in this channel, I help you guys get your TCG Player store off the ground, or I help you guys in the Pokemon business space. And I love making this content, so thanks for watching. If you enjoy it, press like, subscribe, do the YouTube things. It does help me out a ton. And then, yeah, this video is going to be sponsored by me. So I want to highlight my pro seller store. And so if you guys are collectors or just keeping up to with like my business journey, but you also enjoy buying Pokemon cards, and you're like, oh, I wonder what TJ's selling. Well, here is the link to my pro seller site is down below. And I've got all of my singles listed on that site right now for 5% under market. So I will ship them to your house 5% under market for whatever you order. So if you want to buy Pokemon cards from me, that is the way to do it. I also have these Terastal Festival boxes available on my pro seller site at market price. So these ones I've priced at market price, but I'll ship them to your door, free shipping. And so if you're interested in picking up this, Evolution high-class Japanese set, I would love to send these your way. But yeah, thank you guys for taking a peek at my store. So TCG Player. Obviously, I've done the majority of my business on there. I encourage you guys to sell on this platform. And to be honest, I am a TCG Player enjoyer, which, by the way, sidetrack squirrel. I'm wearing this Charlotte Pokemon Regionals shirt. This is the shirt they gave you for competing in the Charlotte Pokemon Card Regional. I got smoked, so every time I put this shirt on, it's just a reminder of my inadequacy as a player, so that's great. But, sorry, that was a squirrel moment. Yeah, TCG Player is a good platform. I like the platform a lot, and I think they do a lot of like good things, and I think the good definitely outweighs the bad, but there's definitely some bad, some things that they could improve on, some things that make it difficult as a seller, and so that's what I'm going to cover today. And what you might be thinking would wind up on this list is fees, but fees is not on the list because the 12% or 14%, if you're a pro seller, 15%, whatever, the marketplace fees that you pay to sell on TCG Player, I've talked about this a little bit before, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. Like, I think that what you're getting in return for that 14% in like the amount of eyes, the amount of traffic that all of your listings get is like well worth it. Like, I don't see a reality in which that doesn't, yeah. Anyway, so I don't think the fees are that bad. Like, is it annoying? Yes. Does it make margins more difficult? Yes, for sure. But like, if there are people who can make it work on TCG Player, then you can make it work, then I can make it work. So I don't think fees are that bad. But here are, yeah, those 4 things. Okay, the number 1 thing is payout time. In comparison to the other platforms, payout time is significantly longer on TCG Player than it is on other platforms. And so on paper, the payout time is 4 business days. But here's the kicker. It's 4 business days from when the order gets shown up as delivered. Now, the way that TCG Player works, any cards that you ship without tracking, because there's no way for it to be confirmed as delivered, the delivery date is basically their expected delivery date, which is like 12 days after the order is placed. And so 4 business days after the 12 days is like 16 business days. And so that's a long time to wait before getting payments. Now, obviously, some orders you get tracking and sometimes it's quicker than that. But and then also if you sell in the direct program, it can take even longer to get your money. Now, is this that big of a deal? Yes and no. Like, ultimately, you get your money eventually. It's not like, you're not able to utilize those funds. You are, but in a business world where cash flow is kind of king, where you're not able to buy more cards until you get the money from the cards that you have sold, waiting for the funds to hit is kind of a big letdown. Like, there have definitely been circumstances before where I'm trying to acquire like big collections. I'm not talking like a couple $1,000s. I'm talking like big, like $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 collections. And I have the money, but it's tied up at TCG Player still. Like, if I go to my payments, it'll say like, hey, you've got, 12 grand coming your way. And it's like, well, if I had that right now, I could throw an offer at these guys, but I'm waiting for this money to come. So the payout time is one of the big ones. And I think they could get that fixed because every other platform, eBay, it happens so much quicker. Like, the people who stream on like Whatnot and Drip, like all of those payments happen basically instantly or like very, very quick. So that's one of the things that is rough about TCG Player that I think they could improve on. The other thing, and gosh, there's just so much potential here, but I kind of get it because they don't want to bite the hand that feeds, is these slabs, baby. This is a beautiful, what is this? I didn't even know that these cards were a thing. 2023 Pokemon Pikachu pop-up exclusive. Oh, it's like the Pokemon Together. You see the little stamp there, Pokemon Together. Isn't it crazy that we pay so much more money for things that have stamps on it? Anyways, this is a slab. And if you're unfamiliar, this is like a graded card with PSA. This one is in a PSA 9, so it's not a gem mint, but it's just mint. And you cannot, there's no specific listings for graded cards on TCG Player, which means if you sell primarily on TCG Player and you pick up graded cards, slabs as they say, in the collections that you buy, you've got two options. You can list it under, this card. I could go to this card's listing. I could list this with a picture and then set the price to whatever I want. And sometimes it might sell, but the volume of people going to TCG Player and looking for slabs is like super low. Or I could just post it on eBay. And to be honest, I don't do a ton of sales on eBay. I do some, like this is posted on eBay right now. So hey, if you want to go buy this PSA 9 Pokemon Together Pikachu, you can do that. But it's yeah, I don't know. I don't love like using eBay. I put most of my efforts into TCG Player, and I just think about the potential for my business and other businesses. If TCG Player would allow categories for graded cards, that would be so sick. But again, TCG Player is owned by eBay. eBay is definitely the place that is known for selling slabs, and so there might be something in there that keeps TCG Player from listing slabs because the relationship with eBay. So that's the second thing. No slabs on eBay or on TCG Player. And then the third thing is there's no envelope system. So one of the things that I envy the most about my counterparts who sell on eBay, the people who have eBay stores and they do the majority of their business on there, is for cards under, I think it's $20. I think for cards under $20, they have this incredible envelope system where you can print out like tracking for the card basically, and then it's guaranteed. Like the card is guaranteed to make it to that place. And if it doesn't, you get reimbursed by eBay, to my understanding. There is no such thing with TCG Player. When you ship out a card or an order for less than $20 with TCG Player, and you chuck it, here's some envelopes, and you chuck it in one of these beautiful windowed envelopes, which by the way, if you're still selling on TCG Player and you're not using windowed envelopes, you are trolling. Stop what you're doing and buy windowed envelopes. Yeah, you can check out my shipping video and I talk about why. But you throw a $12 order in this envelope and it goes out to customer, and customer receives it and they get their grubby hands on it and they're like, yay, I got my 3 EX cards or whatever. And they're like, wait a minute. I'm just gonna submit a message to this buyer and say, hey, it never showed up. Would that be unethical? Yes. Would that be stealing? Yes. But it's really, really hard for TCG Player to enforce that unless people have done that before. And so basically, when they tell you it didn't show up, since this was not tracked, there's no way for you to prove that it did show up. And so you're just kind of out that money. You just basically message the customer and be like, hey, would you be able to wait and give it a few extra days? And they say yes. And then they say, hey, it still hasn't came. And then at that point you're like, all right, yeah, I'll give you a refund. And then you refund, you block them from your store, you message TCG Player to see if they've done it before. And then you move on, right? And that's kind of just the cost of doing business. And so, and to be honest, I don't have like that happen all the time. Maybe out of 1,000 orders, like one. But it does happen, and it is frustrating when it happens for sure. Now, if you sell on eBay, you don't have to deal with that because they have that envelope system in place, which I think is really, really cool. And I think TCG Player would benefit from doing stuff like that. But again, I've done thousands and thousands of orders this way. Not like that big of a deal, but it would be very nice to make that happen. Then the last thing has to mostly do with the direct program, and that's that if you have an account that is in the direct program, you cannot differentiate which cards you want to sell via direct and which ones you do not. And I've got a workaround for that, but it's kind of a pain in the butt. So I'll try and speed run this explanation. TCG Player Direct is a program where I've talked about it a bunch, but basically the cards that people order from, as long as they're in the direct program with TCG Player, these cards, when someone buys this card from your store, TCG Player sends them a copy of a card that they have from their warehouse. It was in New York, now it's going to be in Kentucky. They send them it immediately, and then once you hit a certain number of sales, I think it's like 1,100 or 800 right now or something like that, then TCG Player sends you a reimbursement invoice where you have to send them all of the cards that they sold and shipped out on your behalf. And it's a really cool program. Like it's a fine program. It does help you scale. It helps save you time, but you definitely make a little less money margin wise, but you do more volume in sales. Anyways, once you are in that program, you are in that program. And so if you're like, hey, it really makes sense for me to sell more expensive cards on direct, like $5 and up cards on direct, sweet, that's awesome. But the cheap cards, like the EX cards, like the more bulky type cards, like this one's 50 cents, this one's 80 cents, this one's $1.50, basically anything under $3. It just doesn't really make sense for me to sell it. Well, you don't have a choice. If your account is in the direct program, you're selling all of your cards in the direct program. And so if you want to sell those cheaper cards non-direct, tough crunchies, you can't. Now the workaround that I've done to that, that I used to utilize a lot more, I don't really do it as much anymore, because I don't care about making like a ton of money on those smaller cards, is you can have two accounts. You can have one account that you have in the direct program, and then you can have another account that you just do self-fulfilled orders. And it just seems like an unnecessary workaround. Like to me, it doesn't seem like it would be that challenging for them to add a button, you know, to their portal, to the platform, where it's like, hey, I want, they could just integrate it into mass price or something, I don't know, or you say like, hey, all cards over $6, I want them sold via direct. All cards under $6, I don't want them sold via direct. So now it's like if I really wanted to pinch every penny out of every order, I would have to list some cards on one of my accounts and then the other cards on the other account, which I think is a bit of a hassle. So I think that would be something that they could improve on. And when I've talked with TCG Player a few times, being in their like growth acceleration program or whatever, I did pass along that feedback. So hey, a girl can dream, right? So in summary, the four things is payout time. Takes too long. Slabs, no slabs. Why can't I sell slabs on the platform? 3, no envelope system, and it sucks when product goes missing, or missing quotes. And then the fourth thing is not being able to differentiate those prices or which cards you have listed on the direct program. And so I'd love to know what you think. If you sell on TCG Player, what are your least favorite things about the platform? Is fees your big bad, or are some of these things I speak in your language a little bit? But thank you guys so much for watching. And if you do want to check out my store to see what I've got available, or you want to buy some of these, you know, Terrestrial Festival boxes and pull the Umbreon out of it, or you think this is a good buy and hold, maybe $80, $85, a good price for that. Anyways, yeah, Jesus loves you. I hope you know that. I believe that with my whole heart, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Have a good one. Peace.